Now we'll place our track system so we can start attaching our terracotta panels too. So we'll go to a top view of this assembly. A little review of what we're looking for. We have our looking at, that's our insulation, that's our Z-girt. So we're going to place our track on top of that Z-girt. So we'll go to component and we're going to place a component and we're going to have to load that in, and that's our track. And there we go. And we're going to make our tiles 4 foot on center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly place these for now, but centering them 4 foot on center. And I want to zoom in here and actually move them a little more precisely than what I just positioned it at. I want them to touch the face of that Z-girt. So I'll move that until it indicates that it's touching that face. And then we'll go ahead and make a few copies of that 4 foot on center. And of course we're a little bit too wide. Let's do 3 foot. I don't want to go back and have to reconstruct the wall at this point, so we'll just put these 3 feet on center. All right, and we'll look at this at the front elevation. These are still only 5 feet tall, so we'll go ahead and modify those to make them 20 foot tall. Well, we don't need to go the whole way. Let's just go 15. All right, so now we have our channels. We could actually zoom in here to take a little closer look. So now we have our Z-girt, our connection to our channels. And of course, we're not dealing with any of the fasteners. We're just looking at the idea of the material buildup, get an idea how these parts sit on top of each other and the order that they go in. So let's look at placing our first tile. And we'll go back and we'll look at doing the clip afterwards. But the first thing I want to do is actually try to place a tile, because we've got to do some modifications to that tile anyway. And so let's go ahead and place a component, load a family. We'll grab that tile. Gotta grab the tile. All right, so we can see what orientation it's in. Oops, let me place it again. It didn't stick. Unless it's on the other side of the wall. Oh yeah, there they are. It's not rotating for me. All right, let's just move this over. All right, so we know it's in the wrong orientation, so let's go ahead and edit that. I'll zoom in here so we can see what it looks like. This is actually the front face, because this is the drip edge hanging down. That's the top of the clip area above it. So let's go and edit this in place. We want to first rotate it in 2 directions. So we'll go to Edit Family, and we'll go to a view, an elevation view. We'll go to the front. We're looking at it on the edge. First thing we'll do is we'll rotate it. Oops. And we'll look at it from the side. And we want to rotate it again. Whoops. Now the first thing I want to do, I'm just going to go back and load this in just to see what it's saying that is the face of the tile. We may want to rotate it again. I'm going to go ahead and overwrite it. Okay, so the tile is actually in its correct position. And it's rendering very nicely. You can see the top radiuses of the surfaces. It looks really good. We could actually start to work with adding a texture and other properties to that. But before we do, I want to try to get back in here and just create some kind of a reference to how this sits. So I'm going to move it. So that bottom corner is, take the constraint palette off. Move it so it sits right at that origin. So now if we look at this from the left side, that tile is sitting right at that origin, and we'll probably move it over so that it sits right on the face of that reference plane also. There we go. So now we have a good positive indication of where it will sit in the system. And actually, before we load this back into the project, let's give it a look. So we'll go to categories. I'm not sure they have a terracotta. No, I don't think so. So what we'll do is we're going to create a new material. Sorry about that. Oh, it's like I'm hitting every wrong key. And we'll give it an appearance. We'll give it that orangey kind of terracotta look, that warm terracotta color. Might be a little bright and over the top. And we could actually try to give it a little bit of a bump pattern. I don't think we have a bump pattern handy, so I'm not going to waste time with that right now. But we could go back and add a little bit of texture to it. But I haven't a plan yet for that, so I'm going to leave that out. We'll just leave it with color for now. Load it into the project. All right, looks a tad bright, but that could just be from the illumination. And we forgot to make it 3 feet long. I apologize. So I'm going to go back and edit that family. And actually, we're going to make the tile 3/8 of an inch less than the. So this is going to be 2 foot 11 and 5/8. And that's because of the gapping between the tile. And I think we're there now. Let's see what that says. Yep, 2 foot 11 and 5/8. That leaves us 3/8 gap between our tiles. So load that into the project. And we'll go to a east elevation. Grab our tile, move it to the face of the track. Oops, too deep. Let me move it off and try to put it back on again. And we'll go to plan view so we can see where we're starting this tile. And I'm going to move it over until we can find the center of that. Actually, I'm going to move it to the center first, and then I'll pull it out. Then we're going to move it over a fixed amount. We're going to move it over 3/16. That'll give us our gap of 3/8 of an inch. And we'll copy that over. And one more time. And we'll take a look at that, how we're laying that out. It's becoming obvious I didn't make the backside panel, so I'm going to make some adjustments to that. But what we'll do is we'll walk our way up the wall with this system a little bit, so you can just see how we're building it up. So I'll go to elevation again. I'll grab all 3 of those tiles. I selected those. I've got 3 tiles, and then we'll just copy up. And these are 1 foot high tiles, I believe. So if we go 1, you'll notice that we're coming up with that gap. And we'll go to our 3D view. And there we are, starting to build up our rain screen system. So we have nice panel details. Let's rotate it a little bit. And next we'll look at putting the clips in place. I'll go ahead and offline extend out that wall. I won't waste any clip time. All I'm going to do is just lengthen all of our components so that we have 3 solid panels on an assembly. And next we'll look at adding our clips in on that.